Man, let me tell you something real. Something you won't hear from your friends, your phone, or your pride. If you've ever had a woman leave you, ignore you, or even replace you, this is not the time to chase. It's the time to rise. Because if you do what I'm about to show you, she won't just miss you. She'll beg for you, even if she's already with somebody else. So listen close, because this is how the game changes. You want her attention back, then stop giving it to her. The moment you pull your energy away, your silence becomes your loudest statement. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. You don't win her back by proving your worth. You win her back by becoming a man of such high value, she questions why she ever let you go in the first place. Focus on you. Fully. Ruthlessly go to the gym. Build your body until the mirror claps back at you. Build your money until your wallet feels different. Build your peace until no one can shake you. While she's out there, trying to fill the void you used to fill, you become the void she can never replace. Disappearing is not weakness. It's strategy. You see, when you go silent, truly silent, she starts wondering, is he okay? Is he moving on? Does he even care? Those thoughts turn to curiosity. That curiosity turns to doubt. That doubt, it turns to desire. Because now, she's chasing the version of you she never expected to lose. Don't let her see you hurt. Let her see you healed. She expects you to break, beg, and call it to aim. Don't. Let her open her phone and see a man glowing, not from a rebound, but from purpose. Let her hear from others how you're evolving. When she sees you've become the best version of yourself without her, it shakes her world. You want her back. Be the man no woman wants to lose. Not through words, through presence, through confidence, through scarcity. She left because she thought she could find better. But when you become better, not bitter, her heart will come back to find what her pride told her to leave. And even if she's with someone else, let her compare silently. Let her smile in public and question everything in private. Because when she realizes the man she's with still can't match the peace you found alone, that's when she'll reach out, hoping the door is still cracked open. But here's the truth. By the time she begs you to come back, you might just be too evolved to look back. And that, my friend, is the real victory. So stay quiet, stay focused, stay rare. She'll come back. But by then, you'll be a man who doesn't need her to. When a woman leaves you, the natural instinct is to react emotionally. You want to call her, text her, explain yourself, ask what went wrong, and try to fix it. That reaction, while human, is exactly what strips you of your power. Emotional detachment isn't about being cold or heartless. It's about being in control. When you stop reacting to her decisions and start responding to your own growth, you become the kind of man she can't ignore. See, the more emotional energy you pour into someone who has already walked away, the more power you give them. You're showing her that she's still in control, that she still owns space in your mind and your spirit. That right there is what keeps her feeling secure, even when she's the one who left. But when you pull back, not just physically, but emotionally, when you truly detach from needing her, wanting her, or hoping she comes back, that's when the tables start to turn. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to stop begging for someone who was willing to risk losing you. It's the refusal to make someone your priority while you're just an option to them. Most men confuse detachment with playing games. But there's a difference. Playing games is when you pretend not to care while secretly obsessing. Detachment is when you genuinely focus on your life, your purpose, and your peace so completely that she becomes a part of your past, not your present. That's when your silence becomes powerful. She expects anger. She expects sadness. She expects desperation. But what she doesn't expect, what shakes her, is your complete indifference. That's when she starts questioning everything. She begins to wonder why you're not reaching out, why you're not chasing her, why you're not broken. And those questions spark curiosity. That curiosity leads her to your social media, your friends, your routines. She'll watch you from a distance, wondering if she made a mistake. She'll compare the man she walked away from with the man you're becoming. And when she realizes that you didn't crumble, that you didn't fall apart, that you used her exit as fuel instead of failure, she starts to miss the man she thought she left behind. What she didn't realize is that you were just getting started. Most women don't expect men to grow in their absence. They expect them to fall. When you do the opposite, when you level up, stay silent, and move with purpose, you rewrite the narrative in her mind. Emotional detachment doesn't just change how she sees you. It changes how you see yourself. It gives you clarity. It gives you control. It gives you the strength to look at the situation and say, I don't chase. I attract. And what's meant for me will never have to be begged for. That's not game. That's growth. That's the kind of energy that not only brings her back, but makes her realize she might never deserve the man you've become. After a breakup, most men put all their energy into trying to rebuild the relationship. They replay every moment, every conversation, wondering what they could have said or done differently. But the truth is, no matter how much you analyze the past, you can't rewrite it. And if you stay stuck in that loop, you're wasting valuable time, time that could be used to rebuild the one thing that truly matters, yourself. When a woman walks away, it's often because the version of you she knew either no longer fit her vision or because she believed she could do better. And maybe, at that moment, she wasn't wrong. Maybe you had grown complacent. Maybe you stopped improving. Maybe you lost your edge. But that doesn't mean you beg her to come back. It means you look in the mirror and face what's real. You assess where you are physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, and you commit to leveling up in every single area. You don't rebuild for her, you rebuild for you. Because the man who becomes stronger, sharper, and more self-disciplined after a loss is the man who becomes unforgettable. When you redirect all that energy away from chasing her and toward chasing your purpose, something powerful happens. Your mind gets clearer. Your confidence grows. Your presence becomes more commanding. You start walking differently, talking differently. People begin to notice the shift, even if you say nothing. That shift speaks louder than any apology, any explanation, or any "please come back" ever could. You stop needing her validation because you've built your own. You stop waiting for her texts because you're too focused on creating something bigger than the pain. And that's the paradox. When you stop focusing on getting her back and focus entirely on becoming better, that's exactly when she starts to notice again. But here's the catch. This process is real. It's not a show. You can't fake growth. You can't pretend to be improving just to get her attention again. It has to be authentic. You have to really put in the work, day in and day out. Wake up early, hit the gym, build your business, upgrade your wardrobe, master your craft, deepen your faith, learn something new, heal the wounds she never saw. Because when she does look back, and trust me, she will, she won't just see the man she left. She'll see a version of you she never imagined. a version that looks unrecognizable from the one she walked away from. And that moment, that realization, hits harder than any text you could ever send. She left thinking you were done, but what she really did was trigger your evolution. And once a man starts evolving, truly evolving, there's nothing more attractive, more powerful, or more magnetic. Not just to her, but to every woman watching. When you rebuild yourself, your energy shifts, your presence shifts. The room starts to feel different when you walk in. People respect you differently. You respect yourself differently. And that's when the game changes. Not because she came back, but because you never needed her to. People don't value what's always available. That's just human nature. And when it comes to relationships, that truth hits even harder. The more present you are, the more you call, text, check in, or try to remind her what you had, the more she feels she has control. The more she feels you haven't moved on. And as long as she knows you're still emotionally available, she has no reason to miss you. She doesn't need to chase you, because you've made yourself easy to reach, easy to predict, and worst of all, easy to forget. But the moment you pull back, completely and without explanation, you become rare. And in the world of human behavior, rarity equals value. Scarcity makes people stop and think. Scarcity makes people notice what they've lost. When something they were used to having is suddenly no longer there, the silence becomes loud. Your absence starts asking questions her ego never prepared for. Why did he stop trying? Why is he so quiet? Did he replace me? Has he moved on? Those questions keep her thinking about you, even when she pretends she isn't. And that space you create by removing your presence starts to grow into something powerful. Mystery, curiosity, even regret. See, when you're no longer chasing her, you force her to chase her own emotions. You force her to confront the void that your presence once filled. And the more disciplined you are in maintaining that distance, the stronger the effect becomes. You don't need to post cryptic messages on social media. You don't need to hint that you're doing better. You simply vanish from her world and reappear in your own. That's when you take control, not by words, not by games, but by mastering yourself. By becoming a man who doesn't need to explain his silence, because his absence speaks volumes. And eventually, she starts to remember things she thought she forgot. The way you made her feel. The way you showed up. The way you made her laugh when no one else could. But now, those memories hit different because they come without access. They come with the realization that she no longer has the same place in your life. Scarcity isn't manipulation. It's a reflection of self-respect. You're not withholding attention to punish her. You're protecting your energy from being wasted. And in doing so, you become the man who isn't just wanted. You're missed. You're longed for. You become the echo in her silence and the thought in her stillness. She may not admit it. She may even try to distract herself with someone else. But deep down, she feels it. That shift, that emptiness, that undeniable truth that something valuable is no longer available. And while she's pretending to be happy, posting pictures, smiling in public, that scarcity will quietly remind her of what she gave up. That's when the value hits. Not because you begged, not because you convinced her, but because you left. And what you left behind became irreplaceable. Nothing haunts a woman more than seeing the man she left become the man she always wanted. That's the truth most people don't talk about. See, a woman might walk away thinking she's seen everything you had to offer. She believes she's outgrown you. Maybe you were too soft, too available, not ambitious enough, or just stuck in place while she wanted movement. But what happens when you use that rejection as fuel? Not for revenge, but for refinement. What happens when you take that pain and convert it into discipline? When you stop explaining yourself and start upgrading yourself? She starts seeing something she never expected: your evolution. And the beauty of this process is that you don't have to announce it. You don't need to tell the world you're changing. You simply let your actions do the speaking. Let your growth speak for itself. Let your transformation become your testimony. When she sees that you're becoming sharper, more focused, more confident, more present in your purpose, that's when the confusion sets in. She starts comparing who you were with who you are now. And that comparison hurts more than any words ever could. She left a version of you she thought she understood, but now she's seeing a man who is no longer shaped by that past. You're dressing better. You're walking with more confidence. You're speaking with more clarity. You're surrounded by better people. You've cleaned up your mindset, your circle, your routine. She sees it in your silence. She hears about it through others. Maybe it's a post online. Maybe it's a new opportunity you just landed. Maybe it's the glow you now carry that no longer needs her validation. And that's where the regret begins to grow. Because she's no longer looking at the man she walked away from. She's looking at the man she didn't have the patience to wait for. A man who has elevated far beyond what she expected. And the worst part for her is knowing that someone else might now experience the best version of you. Because she didn't believe enough in you to stay. You don't evolve to make her jealous. You don't evolve to get her back. You evolve because pain forces you to see yourself differently. You evolve because you finally realize that everything you thought you needed from her was really just a mirror reflecting what you were missing in yourself. And now that you're doing the work, now that you're rebuilding from the ground up, every improvement you make becomes a message, not to her, but to yourself, that you are no longer the man who waits. You are no longer the man who chases. You are the man who transforms. And that evolution, it's loud. Even when you say nothing, it's visible. Even when she's far away. And it's powerful. Because it turns her curiosity into craving, her doubt into desire, and her decision to leave into the mistake she'll never stop remembering. After a breakup, most men feel an overwhelming urge to speak, to explain, to apologize, to try and fix what's broken with words. They believe that if they just say the right thing, she'll come back. That if they keep texting, keep calling, keep reminding her of the good times, they'll somehow change her mind. But what they don't realize is that silence, real, intentional silence, is far louder than begging. It carries more weight. Because when a man who once chased suddenly disappears, it sends a message that words never could. It says, I respect myself enough to walk away. It says, I'm no longer fighting for someone who stopped fighting for me. And more than anything, it says, I've accepted the loss, and now I'm building something better, without you. When you go silent, you shift the emotional power dynamic. You take control, not over her, but over yourself, and that self-control is rare. It's attractive. It's confusing, because she expects you to fold. She expects you to break down and chase her, the way every other man has. But when you don't, she starts to question everything. She wonders why you stopped. She wonders if you've moved on. She wonders if she misjudged your value. And in that wondering, you become heavy on her mind. Not because you said something, but because you didn't. Because silence forces her to sit with her decision, to live with the space you left behind. And that space over time can become unbearable. Begging shows weakness. It says, I need you to feel whole. Silence, on the other hand, shows strength. It says, I'm already whole, with or without you. And when a woman sees that you've reclaimed your power, when she realizes you're not waiting by the phone, not watching her stories, not reacting to her life, it rattles her ego. Because now she's the one left wondering. Now she's the one who feels the absence. And that absence becomes louder with every day you remain quiet. You don't use silence as a weapon. You use it as a shield, a way to protect your energy from further damage, a way to focus inward, to heal, to grow, and to elevate beyond the emotional chaos. You use that silence to rebuild your foundation, to rise in value, to chase your goals instead of chasing her approval. And the longer you stay silent, the more powerful your presence becomes in her memory. You stop being the guy who begged. You become the guy she underestimated. The guy who disappeared and came back unrecognizable. Not because you needed her, but because you chose yourself. And in that silence, you remind her of what real strength looks like. You remind her that love isn't proven by how loudly you plead, but by how deeply you respect yourself. And once a man masters that kind of silence, he no longer needs to speak to be heard. His growth becomes the loudest thing in the room. When a woman walks away, especially for someone else, it's easy to feel like everything's falling apart. Your self-worth takes a hit. Your confidence shakes. You might question what you did wrong, what you could have done differently, or whether you were ever enough. But the truth is, the most powerful move you can make in that moment isn't to chase her. It's to rebuild without her. Not out of spite, not to get revenge, but to prove to yourself that her absence is not your ending. It's your turning point. This is where the real work begins. When you take the shattered pieces of your life, your pride, your heart, and start putting them back together one discipline at a time, one improvement at a time, quietly, deliberately, and with purpose. You stop checking on her. You stop watching who she's with. You stop needing updates. Because the new you, the real you, isn't concerned with who left. He's focused on who he's becoming. You get back in the gym. You wake up earlier. You start showing up with energy, presence, and purpose. You improve your finances. You cut off distractions. You elevate your mindset. You start living like the man you were too distracted to become before. And she sees it. Maybe not right away, but trust, she sees it. The world has a funny way of letting your progress echo. Whether through social media, mutual friends, or just your quiet glow, up that becomes impossible to ignore. Your name will cross her path again. And this time, it won't be attached to the old you. It'll come with a new energy. A version of you that didn't fall apart when she left, but became dangerous in the best way. Focused. Driven. Unshakable. See, when she left, she thought she was walking away from a man who needed her. What she didn't realize was that she was walking away from a man who just needed a reason to wake up. And now that you're locked in, now that you're leveling up in every area, she has no choice but to look back and question what she gave up. She compares the man she knew to the man you've become. And that contrast will haunt her more than anything you could ever say. Because you didn't get bitter, you got better. You didn't sink, you soared. And you didn't try to win her back. You built a life that made her feel left behind. The most attractive thing you can do after a breakup isn't to prove her wrong. It's to prove yourself right. That you were always capable of more. That you just needed space to grow without being tethered to someone who couldn't see your value. So you let her go. And you let her watch from a distance as the man she once knew transforms into someone she can't reach anymore. Not because you're being petty, but because you finally understand that real power doesn't beg for attention. It earns respect through undeniable growth. So hear me now. If you want her to beg you to come back, even if she's with someone else, you don't do it with words. You don't chase. You don't plead. You become. You evolve into the man she never thought you'd be, the man she wished she had stayed for. You let your absence teach her the value of your presence, and you let your growth speak louder than any text, call, or emotional outburst ever could. Because when you rebuild in silence, when you rise without noise, when you become so focused on your purpose that your glow can't be ignored, that's when she'll feel it. That's when the regret will hit. That's when the tables turn. But by then, you may not even want her back, because the man you become through that fire, he doesn't go backward. He keeps moving forward, and only a real one can walk beside him.